So you've decided to go to university. Congratulations, you've passed the first step. Going into university can feel like an absolute minefield, and you're probably wondering, where do you start? It depends on the university, but a lot of universities now are doing online enrolment, which means you just open up a web page, you submit your documents, your visas, your qualifications, and then you press submit. It's as easy as that. Once you've enrolled, you'll be sent timetables, welcome pack information, and any other information required to get you started for the academic year. You'll probably be sent some reading lists as well. That's normally a list of things you're expected to read on your course. So you'll have your reading list, you'll have your timetable, you'll have your enrolment pack. But what next? You might be moving from your original home place to a new university much further away from home, be it in this country or further afield internationally, and you might be thinking, how do I get my accommodation sorted for university? Some universities offer their own private halls of residence. Sometimes you're sharing, and sometimes you have your own particular bedroom or bathroom. It depends on the accommodation place. Other universities, they don't have their own private place, but they recommend other private halls of residence for students only, and these are some of the providers. Go and check them out. Private halls of residence are quite nice if you're brand new to a city, because they are essentially big blocks of flats of students who are in exactly the same position as you. Some student halls, they only offer places to people in their first year, so normally you'd expect party, but probably at the moment you'll be expecting bubble wrap and living off in cordon sections. When I went to university, I just clicked on one of those private halls of residence and I contacted them directly via the website. I said, hey, have you got any rooms available? They said, yeah, sure, have a room, and done. But if you're unsure about where to stay, you may wish to contact your university's student accommodation advisors. Most universities have them. They're trained professionals to help you move into a place. Now, a lot of them will recommend these halls of residence that I've talked about, but also some will mention private places. And these are places owned by landlords that can be rented out to students, but also to people who are in the working world. Next up, student finance. Now, it depends on whether you're international or if you're a home student. Home student being someone in the UK or in Europe. So the student finance company, Student Finance England, they're called, SFE for short, they give you a loan for your tuition fee and your living expenses. The tuition fee is literally called the tuition loan. The living expenses loan is called the maintenance loan. And the tuition fee is pretty much set, so you don't have to worry about that so much. The tuition fee is to cover your university costs, and that's for the lessons, because most universities, if you didn't already know this, will charge you about £9,000, and that's if you're a home student, even more if you're international. And they don't put the money into your bank account, so you don't get tempted to spend it on lagers and packets of crisps. The £9,000 plus or whatever, that goes straight to the university, so it doesn't come into your account, it jumps. The maintenance loan is a little bit different. The maintenance loan does go into your account, it's for living expenses, and you're expected to pay that for things like rent, books, food, whatever else. If you're moving to a place like London, the £9,000 is not going to cut it very far. You may have to get another part-time job or rely on your family for help. The amount you're given by student finance can vary differently. It depends. They do what they call a means-tested allowance. So they'll often see where you're living at the moment. They'll determine whether you can expect your family to help you. It's a bit unfair really, because they will ask for your family's earnings, and they'll want to determine how wealthy your family are, the one you're living with. And it is a bit unfair. If they think that you can sponge off your parents, they'll give you less maintenance loan. They will literally expect you to go, Mum, Dad, can I have £9,000 please? The £9,000 is often paid in quarterly instalments, so you'll get £3,000 in the first semester, £3,000 in the next semester, and often £3,000 in the final remaining semester just before the summer term. The universities also offer bursaries. Again, it depends on the university, but a lot of universities offer some kind of bursary to assist you with your funding, and a lot of universities also offer what they call the hardship fund. The hardship fund is a government means tested allowance. Once again, you apply to your university saying how much you hate your accommodation and how you're borderline homeless, and it's there for people who are in diabolical need of finances. So I would avoid staying clear of that unless you really are borderline homeless. I highly recommend just opening a couple of books before you go into university. In my English A-level, I read one book for an entire term. In my English Lit degree at university, we were reading more than one book a week. The jump between A-level to degree is a little bit more fierce than you might think, and it often gives people a bit of a shock. But don't worry, you're adaptable, you're versatile, you're going into this during a pandemic and a recession, you're already strong enough, you can already do this, I believe in you, I believe in you. Before I started my degree, what I did was I forced myself to read books that I didn't actually want to read. You might be thinking, what is the point of that? I went onto Amazon and I ordered big, boring books that I would have never read, and I challenged myself to read them over the summer. And what that did was that helped me learn a skill in reading faster even when I was bored. And it doesn't really matter what degree you study, you will be reading stuff that you hate. I don't care whether you've chosen the best course of your dreams. There will be a time in that course when you can't stand it, when you just think to yourself,
that's it, I want to give it all up, forget the £9,000. Mum, Dad, I don't care anymore. I want to be a YouTube star. I don't need university anymore.
But you've come this far, and if you're enjoying the degree for the most part, I would not encourage making any drastic decisions just yet. Don't worry, I believe in you. I believe in you. Social. Now, in the films and magazines and TV shows, we often see that university is this big, social orgy of romance and sexual exploits and fun. If you're going to university to actually get a degree and not boost up your social life, then I would recommend having a bit of both. A bit of a social life, a bit of hard work as well. Pre-coronavirus times, student union bars would open up, they have student union events. I highly recommend going to those if they open up, if the coronavirus guidance is reduced, and this just gives you a chance to meet some people. I'm not talking about starting up a brand new romance or starting up some frat club. All I'm talking about is getting to know people in your course. At the end of the day, human beings are a cooperative species. You can go into that course on your own, and I'm sure you can do an amazing job, but it helps if you make some friends on your course. And the reason I say that is not so you can copy people's work, but so that you can get a general idea of how people are also experiencing the course. If you feel like you're struggling so much in a class and nobody is talking to you about it, and you feel like you're the only one and everybody else is doing so well, you can feel so alienated, and that becomes quite stressful, which can then affect your actual work. Whereas if you talk to your people in your course and the majority of them say to you, yeah, this course is really hard, then you can say, it's not just me then. I mentioned this in my last video, that university is not a sprint, it's a long distance marathon. I would recommend not burning yourself out in the first year. So many students go into the first year and they're like, gotta work hard, gotta work hard. And I agree, working hard is very important. But in most universities, the first academic year does not count towards your overall qualification. Sometimes they take the results into account on your final year in special circumstances, but for the most part, that first year is for you to experiment and familiarise yourself with the course. You may decide you don't like the course, and then you can maybe apply for something like a course transfer, and that just really means going to your university's academic registry and saying that you wish to take part in a course transfer, and they can leapfrog you from one course to another. Mental health is also very important. Most universities have counsellors, and I would highly recommend taking advantage of that service if you feel that your mental health is not in its best place. If you are prone to anxiety or stress, university will take that and amplify it and turn it up times 1,000. Stress and burning out is not good for your degree. You cannot work to the best of your ability when you are feeling overwhelmed. A lot of students nowadays find that student finance is not enough for covering their costs, so they go out and get a job as well. Now, if you are going to get a job, I recommend keeping the hours very limited and try not to go overboard with the whole full-time work. A lot of students, they think, I can do both. I'm Elon Musk. I don't sleep. Working non-stop. Yeah, university, working, no sleep. It doesn't work very well. So you've got your funding in place, you've got your accommodation in place, you've got your timetables, your welcome pack, your Zoom classes, you've got a little bit of social going on as well, and now you're mentally prepared and you're academically prepared for the course as well. You're ready, you don't need me anymore. You watched the previous video about whether you should or not go to university, you're now watching this video about how to go to university. I'm so proud of you, I'm very proud of you. You should keep up the good work. If you like these kinds of videos and want more advice on how to survive through university, leave me a message in the comments or drop me a message and I'll be happy to help.